All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Wednesday. And yeah, let me just check that my mic is working. Mic check. Let me just check that my mic is working before we continue. Mm, Mic check, mic check. My mic is working. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. All right, cool. Before we continue. All right, so mic is working, all good. So, 5 reasons that you fail financially. Now, these are common reasons that I see on average. This may not all of them may apply to you, but on average, this probably will. If you're failing financially, if you're not at the financial goals that you want to be at, most likely it's probably you're hitting one of these 5 reasons. All right, so let's get into the list. Number one, the number one reason why people fail financially is that they have a lack of financial education. Many people lack basic knowledge about budgeting, saving, investing, managing debt without a clear understanding of how money works. It's easy to make poor financial decisions. And this is true. There's so much financial information out there. Now, obviously, I think there's some financial information that could probably do some harm to you if you're not following the right person, and you shouldn't be getting financial advice. But I think when it comes to just solid budgeting, solid saving, and just typical investing, whether it's like in an ETF or things like that, I think most people don't even know those things. So I think people need to start there, figure out how to save. And when it comes to saving, I tell people try to get to your first $10,000 first, and then from there you can move up to 100, or maybe you can move from 10,000 to 50,000, and then from 50,000 to 100. But I think when it comes to saving, I think those are kind of like the key areas that people need to focus on. Because I think once you save up to your first 10 grand, it becomes a lot easier. You kind of know the process, and then getting to 100 grand is just doing that in a bigger scale. The same thing, but in a bigger scale. So yeah, but financial education is very important, and I think the reason why people don't make good financial decisions is because they lack the information. And I always say to pay for information. I think I think YouTube, Google, I think Chat GPT now, you could get good information for free. So definitely utilize those sources. But I think at some point, if you want to get more advanced, I think paying for information is not a bad idea. But I think the basic uh, investing skills, like I said, knowing what index funds are, knowing what ETFs are, knowing the Mag 7, the big 7 blue chip stocks, because most people get into smaller caps that are not in the Mag 7, the Magnificent 7. And for those of you who don't know what the Magnificent 7 is, it's Microsoft, Tesla, Facebook. Um, what's the other one? Tesla, Facebook. Did I say that's Meta? Nvidia, and I'm missing 2 more. Yeah, but there are 2 other ones, and I'm trying to think. Tesla, is Berkshire halfway in that? I'm not sure. But there's 7. They're essentially 7 big blue chip stocks that you should know about. They carry the major indexes like the S&P and the Nasdaq. So yeah, I think people should at least know those basics, and I think it'll get them far. And a lack of financial education is what's holding most people back. All right, number two. Number two is poor spending habits. Overspending, impulse buying, and living beyond one's means can lead to financial instability. Without discipline in managing daily expenses, people often struggle to build savings or avoid debt. So yeah, this is a big one. Most people do have poor spending habits, and you either have 2 options, right? You either learn how to budget really well, and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to spend for the week. I'm not going to go over my spending amount. Or you say, okay, this is the lifestyle I want to live, and I'm just going to make more money. I think that's a good solution too. If you don't want to change your lifestyle, if you like to live in a certain place, if you like to drive a certain car, I think you should just make more money. in that case if you don't want to come up with a crazy budget. But you should be saving and investing at least 20 to 30% of your money. So whatever you're making, you should be able to save 20 to 30%. So if you need to make more money in order to live the lifestyle you live and then be able to save 20 to 30% of the money you're bringing in, then that's what you need to do. But most people do have poor habits. I'm really not too big into you can't buy your coffee or whatever. I think whatever makes you move, whatever gets you going to work, I think go ahead and purchase that as long as it's not messing up or dipping into your investing money or your saving money and things like that. So as long as it's not messing up that stuff, then I think you could purchase whatever you want. But again, you should be able to save 20 to 30% of what you're bringing in. But yeah, poor spending habits is a big one. People overspend, they impulse buy, and this happens all the time. All right. All right. Number 3, high levels of debt. Accumulating debt, especially high interest debt like credit cards, can cripple financial progress. Constantly paying off debt instead of building wealth leads to financial strain. And this is a big one. I've had credit card debt before, and a lot of people have credit card debt. And it's hard once you get into credit card debt, especially if you don't have money saved up or you don't have some type of investments that are going to multiply that you can end up pulling out and paying for that debt. It takes a while to pay off that debt, especially if you only have a 9 to 5. And most people, their 9 to 5, once they pay their bills, they pay their rent, they may be left over with a few $100, and that's not enough to pay down the $10,000 or $20,000 that they have in credit card debt or student loan debt or maybe their car or whatever debt that you have. It's hard to pay it off when you're just making enough. So again, 2 things. 1, never get into that debt, or 2, if you're in that debt, maybe think about picking up a side hustle or picking up some type of business on the side, do some investments that you can help pay off that debt quickly, and so you can start taking that money that would have gone to the debt, and now you can start investing that. Most people say, I've been hearing a lot of people say, don't invest until you pay off credit card debt. I think if you can invest in a way where you've done your research and you know, okay, I'm going to invest this money and it's going to help me pay off my credit card debt, I think that's a very good strategy too. I don't necessarily agree with people saying, oh, well, you have credit card debt, pay that down first, and then you can invest. I think you miss a lot of opportunities that way. I think you could do both. I think you could service the credit card debt while you're investing, and then potentially that investment can multiply and triple, and then you can pay off the credit card debt altogether. So, and it just depends on how much credit card debt you have, how high the interest is, and if you can service that debt, maybe sometimes it does make sense to take that money that you were to throw to the debt, invest it, you multiply it, and then you can come back and pay off the debt. I know a lot of people that do that with student loans. However, student loans interest rate is a lot lower. So it just depends on the scenario, depends on what your preference is, but there's different options to conquer a high level debt. But it is something that makes people fail financially, and you need to be careful with high levels of debt, because if you don't take care of it right away, it can spiral out of control. All right, number 4, failure to save and invest. Many people fail to prioritize savings and investing early, missing opportunities to grow wealth through compound interest. A lack of emergency funds or retirement planning leaves them vulnerable to financial hardships. So this is true. A lot of people sometimes too, I mean, if you're working a 9 to 5, you may be doing the 401k, but most people don't invest on their own or have like some type of private brokerage. I think everybody should have their own brokerage outside of their 9 to 5. You shouldn't just depend on the allocation that your work does for those ETFs or mutual funds that they do at the job. And yeah, but most people don't invest on their own. Most people just let their job do it, or they may not even enroll in what their job is offering. and they don't have anything invested. So I think the best thing to do is treat investing and saving like a bill, and you should do it first, because the first thing that people do when they get their paycheck is pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their food. So treat it like a bill and say, okay, as soon as I get my check, this portion will automatically go to this investing brokerage account or whatever you want to do, or this savings account. But I think people need to prioritize that. I think a lot of the times people get their check and they pay off the necessities, but they don't treat investing or saving like a necessity, and they don't end up saving or investing. They may just have whatever at their job. And not saying that's not a good start, but I think people should have their own brokerage and be able to have something that they can call their own, right? And not to say 401k is not your own, but you can't get access to it until 60. And if you do get access, you get penalized. So yeah, number 5, unexpected life events. Unforeseen circumstances like medical emergencies, job loss, or family crisis can lead to financial setbacks, especially if there are no safety nets or insurance in place. So yeah, this is, I think I believe I have insurance through my current job. But more than that, maybe you should have some type of emergency savings that you can dip into if a family financial crisis occurs, and it's not going to destroy everything you have. A lot of people do have a financial crisis, and they have to dip into their investing pot, their regular savings, and they don't have an emergency savings for these type of emergencies. So it's important to have an emergency savings. I don't like to save too much, but maybe around 10 to 15,000. They say like 3 to 6 months worth of emergency savings. And again, it just depends on the emergency, right? Like sometimes it could be a funeral. Sometimes it could be, your car broke down. Maybe it's like 3-4 grand. Now you got to get a new car. Or maybe an expensive electronic that you use for work breaks, and now you got to get a new laptop. So there's multiple things that can happen when it comes to emergency savings. So I would say around 5 to 15,000 is a good amount, and it could probably cover most emergencies that come up, right? But yeah, so those are the 5 things that make people fail financially on average. So number 1, lack of financial education. 2, poor spending habits. 3, high levels of debt. 4, failure to save and invest. And 5, unexpected life events. Now, not all of these may apply to you, but I'm pretty sure if you are failing financially, you can look at the list and one of these probably apply to you, right? So make sure you're not falling into any one of these buckets, and I think you will succeed financially opposed to fail. But yeah, so some housekeeping items. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram, Mr. Financial Nutrition. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok, Financial Nutrition. I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And yeah, and today's Wednesday, so I post today. So make sure you guys go check me out. And that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.